Well, my husband and I lost our house. It was foreclosed on because of the high interest rates that they were adding on to the end of the loan instead, and it was just the prices kept going up, and the banks basically stole our house.
Occupation.
Everything brings me here. The fact that I feel like I've been born for this brought me here. And it's right down the street from my house, so why wouldn't I come every single day and give my full effort? You know what I mean?
I heard that New York had been occupying, and I was excited about that, and I was hoping it would be somewhere local. And when I heard it was here in Sacramento, I was like, okay, I have to be there. And so I've been here since day one. Yeah, I'm here to support the changes we need to make in our politics. I came to the occupation because, well, one, I feel that it's wrong that people that are willing to work can't find jobs. I feel it's wrong that these major corporations are getting bailed out with the tax dollars from the people that are lucky enough to be able to find jobs, so that they can send the jobs overseas and take them away from those people that just paid the taxes for that bailout. Good job, government. I'm also here at the Occupy Sacramento trying to do what I can to help everybody by feeding them. Because, I've been on the streets 8 years, unable to find any work, and who took care of me during that 8 years? The 99% did. So here's my chance to give them something back.
The general feeling that our system is not currently working. We have too many unemployed. We have too many with high debt. Shit's not working.
Occupation.
Well, I just heard about them. They're trying to do some kind of really important movement, so I just thought I'd come down here and be a part of it.
Occupation, right?
I want our rights back.
Occupation, okay.
I was brought to the occupation. I was really interested once Occupy Wall Street sprung up, and that was because I definitely have seen the effects of all the economic problems we're having. I've seen many of my friends be seriously affected by it, and I've done a lot of research that shows that it's really ruining a lot of people's lives. And so initially, that was one of the things that really brought me or drew me towards it. It was an exciting moment. I have been reading about stuff regarding economic issues and political issues, both globally and locally, for a very long time, and I felt like, oh my God, finally people are starting to wake up.
Gotcha. Change.
I think they need to be fair on the taxes. I think they need to get rid of the Bush tax breaks and tax the rich people.
Nice.
Make them pay their fair share.
Well, the people have lost. Well, I'll get the people have lost their power to the government. But they just don't know it. They don't understand how the government has taken the power from them and given it to big, huge corporations that they have no say in. So what we're doing here is educating people, and as the masses become educated, they'll become informed, and then they'll become inspired. So,
I think we need to get rid of the Federal Reserve Bank. I don't think that is a good way to go to run the monetary system. I don't think we actually need a monetary system. It's not a part of human needs. We made that. We can do without it. Make it more about the people. Make sure that the people's voice is being heard. Make sure that instead of putting all these things that step on the toes of our Constitution into all of our little amendments, leave the original Constitution and take away all the tricky wording and this and that all our politicians are doing now, and actually put it to where the politicians are the citizens instead of rich, bureaucratic, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
I think it's not necessarily my responsibility to decide what needs to happen to bring upon change. It's simply my responsibility to be part of the mass of people who say our current system is broken. It's the responsibility of the people in all of these windows, in all of these places of power, to figure out how to deal with a redistribution of wealth in a fair and equitable way.
Okay.
A wholesome change. I don't know. I just hope everything changes for the best. I don't really know.
A change of people in office and a change of laws.
A wholesome change, I mean, I'd have to, maybe you'd have to be more specific on what you mean by wholesome, but I can try and kind of gather based on my experiences. To bring about a wholesome change, I think one of the most important things we need is like a serious cultural and value system shift. We have kind of this consumption culture and this consumption value system, and it's all about competition. It's, okay, whatever I can do to screw this person over to make my life better. And I'm not saying everybody, is doing it that way, but that's kind of what this economic system calls for, indirectly or directly.
Productive.
Just people's general involvement and understanding of how a General Assembly is supposed to work. Because I think the facilitators do an amazing job. It's just everyone else doesn't really understand how GAs work yet. So I'm guessing we should just have work. I think the thing that would make it work better is having a big, huge workshop for everybody to understand what a GA actually is and how they can participate in it effectively.
I agree that everybody needs to speak, but we're not staying on one subject enough, because someone will have a block or something like that, and they feel that, or someone will have a block and they'll have a problem with what they're saying that's not really relevant, that just has to do with it. It's just something that triggers them, and so they got a block on it, and it's not really about the main point. That's at least how it's been going lately about the
Productive.
Honestly, to make the General Assembly more productive is going to be hard, because it involves the people that are listening in and wanting to hear their voice be heard. And unfortunately, a lot of it is people talking about things that have nothing to do with the movement.
Right.
Everybody's trying to use that as a forum for their personal grievances against whatever. And what we're supposed to be doing with those General Assemblies is finding a way to organize the people that are here into a general consensus of the group towards a productive movement, rather than arguing with each other over trivial matters that aren't solving anything.
So I know that this is your first GA, but what do you feel could be done to make the General Assembly more productive?
Once again, I'm not as familiar with the Occupy GAs in order to form an educated opinion about how to make GAs more effective. I think the first and number one thing to make this movement in general more effective is to increase the amount of people participating.
Beautiful.
They should work as together as a team too, because if, like, my boyfriend was telling me, like, if you got the what's it called, babe? The corporation. If you got the corporation and they like feel like they're not a part of us, but we the main part. We the main part. We the 99%.
That's right.
In the GA. They need to go through and only bring up things. They need to do some culling of things that are suggested for the GA.
Okay.
The General Assembly could be more productive. Personally, I think sometimes there are too many things in the General Assembly. Some stuff is just kind of logic and reason.
Right.
Some stuff you don't have to bring about in front of the General Assembly. For example, stuff regarding food, how to feed people. I mean, that's a technical thing. Just figure it out. Figure out what's the best method we can come up with to make sure everybody gets fed. We don't need to vote on it.
Right.
But some stuff, of course, in regard to social operation, may need some voting.
Agreed. Should be heard.
I do. That's what the whole thing of democracy is all
It
about.
should be heard. And how would you? It should be heard. And how do you feel?
absolutely
Heard.
Yes, everybody should have the right to speak. Everybody should have the right to let their voice be heard. However, we need people to be able to direct that in a smooth fashion, rather than people getting excited and yelling and trying to be overheard. Rather than speaking over each other, we need to learn to communicate with each other.
Agreed.
Yes, everyone's voice is important. Everyone's voice should be heard. That can at times be time-consuming, which is why perhaps we don't have a direct democracy and we have representative democracies. It depends on how large of a scale you want everyone's voice to be heard. In small groups like this, it's very feasible. In the national scale, it's simply not.
It should be heard.
Yes, I
Should be
do.
heard.
Not exactly.
No?
No.
Okay. I'm going to get with you on that. I should be heard.
Okay.
How would you feel?
Yes, I do believe that everybody should have the opportunity to voice their opinion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is correct. And I don't mean to be mean, but of course some of us, there's plenty of things I'm probably wrong about, and there's plenty of things I'm probably right about. And but the good thing about hearing everybody's voice is that hopefully we have a method of sifting through all these different voices and trying to narrow in on what's the most accurate, what's the best method.
Gotcha. The GA.
I would say that would be their thing to do, but the movement as a whole would not support it because they don't want to be assigned a figurehead in political government. They want to be not attached from it at all. So I would say that they could do whatever they want. They're free people, but I don't think the movement as a whole would support them.
From the GA. Nice.
I think that would be wrong because you gotta have the consent from the GA because the GA is the reason why we're here. That's our system of us combining our thoughts and our resources.
The GA.
I don't think it should be aligned with an ideologic or political group, period, because honestly, sure, they should be welcomed also because it's all about everybody, but at the moment you pick one, then you become biased. And that's exactly what we're trying to go against.
And what do you...
I don't necessarily know enough about the NYGA rules or how Occupy across different cities has been functioning to really be involved in their political ideas and actions and policy formation. Perhaps
I think that would be bad.
You think it would be bad?
I think that
From the GA. Oh,
That would seem to be wrong.
GA. Okay.
I would feel like that occupation is doing things that are no different from the current establishment. So I wouldn't see it as a step forward. I would just see it as more of the same thing.
Okay. This movement?
The what?
The Zeitgeist movement?
What is that?
Good
I don't
answer.
know.
And should...
I don't know. I mean, join forces, that's a weird... I don't know how to, what that means, honestly. I think that the Zeitgeist movement can stand behind us just like we stand behind Occupy Wall Street, but it wouldn't be, their own thing, It would be Zeitgeist standing with us and us standing with... just together in unity, just as people, not as anything other than...
Okay.
I think there's going to be a lot of upset people. I have to admit, I support Zeitgeist. I think they are very knowledgeable and have some good ways to go about things, such as the Venus Project. But that's not why everybody's here. That's the thing. Other people are here for other reasons that contradict the Zeitgeist movement, so you really can't put them together.
What?
The Zeitgeist movement?
Isn't that the one where they're trying to build a computerized city and all this and that? I think that would be oxymoronic.
I don't know enough about the Zeitgeist movement to make an educated.
it would probably make us stronger, probably be more healthier, but as long as we just can come to a compromise and be able to work everything out for the best, for all of us, for all of the 99.
I think it should join force with all kinds of movements. I don't think that joining forces with the Zeitgeist movement should stop it from joining forces with other movements.
Okay.
If the occupation joined forces with the Zeitgeist movement, depends on what you mean by join forces. It depends on if you mean the Zeitgeist movement is directing the occupation, or do you just mean that, we are kind of incorporating ourselves and working with the occupiers? If it's the Zeitgeist movement directing the occupation, I think that's very dangerous. I don't think there should be any co-opting, any direction from any outside political party. I think this should be as organic as possible. I think that's what's beautiful about it. It doesn't matter, I come from the Zeitgeist movement. I've worked with them for a long time, but I personally do not want to see the Zeitgeist movement push or direct what the Occupy movement does. When I came out here as far as I'm concerned, my ties with the Zeitgeist movement, I came out here on an educational capacity. Oh, just like everybody else is. Oh, I can educate some people, we can talk, go through some dialogue, and that's been happening. I've been very happy with it. So I don't want the Zeitgeist movement to direct where it goes. That would be no different than, if the Tea Party was directing it. I think it would be bad. But I do think it's very important to be incorporated into it, because I think that's what we need. We need people from all over, from all different areas of trains of thought, of the political spectrum, economic spectrum, to come together and start consensus building. This is something that we have evolutionary baggage, and some people don't like to face it, and it's going to be a painful process going through this kind of consensus building, but we have to do it. We have to do it.
Assembly.
I think if they're going to join forces, then they need to get permission.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think that Zeitgeist doesn't need any to ask the General Assembly if they want to join us, because we are welcoming everyone. But I mean, as long as Zeitgeist isn't pushing an agenda on anybody, just like we're not trying to push any political agenda on anybody, I think as long as they stick to those rules, I don't see why they can't join forces with us, as if you could say that. Yeah.
You can say anything you want.
Yeah. Well, that's all I gotta say.
Right on. Thank you.
Well, like I said, the General Assembly is really why I think we're here, for everybody to come together with our information and make the best use we can with that information. And if the General Assembly agreed that the Zeitgeist would be the best way to go about that, then I would say that would be the right thing to do.
Fantastic. Thank you. Assembly.
It would have to be in order to make sense, because it's a general consensus. But by aligning to that, like I said, it'd be oxymoronic. It could be the exact opposite of what we're trying to do, because how free are you when you're being ran by computers?
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Specifically the General Assembly of Sacramento, for the Occupy Sacramento, or all General Assemblies. And I don't necessarily understand how the General Assembly ideas of Occupy Sacramento mesh up with General Assembly of Occupy Oakland or Occupy San Francisco. I don't yet understand the interconnectedness of the movements, or if there is an interconnectedness of the movements, to understand if something like that should be elected between each individual occupation, and the ways in which the world works I have not figured out yet. It does seem prima facie to be true that it should be voted upon, since it is a general movement. It's a movement about general consensus, about being the majority of people. So they should therefore have a vote. But again, that's just kind of prima facie on the general idea that without in-depth knowledge of the system in which you have to create it.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Be agreed upon in the General Assembly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Again, I still have to say exactly what you mean by join forces, but
Teaming up, aligning.
yeah, I think if it's aligning, no, I don't think that needs to be brought up in the General Assembly. There's plenty of other organizations that have, so to speak, joined forces. I look at it as just, okay, well, we're just here and we're helping out as much as we can, and we are exchanging our ideas also. To me, that's joining forces, and that's the extent of it.
Okay.
The separation would be if the Zeitgeist movement was to direct some of the decisions of the Occupy movement, which I really hope doesn't happen, and I don't think it will happen, then yeah, that's definitely something that should be brought up to the GA, or if any organization was going to start directing things. But again, I definitely hope that doesn't happen. It would take away from the beauty of the Occupy movement in general.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.